Travis is going to do the pledge, and Mitch is going to do the prayer.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May we pray. Our Heavenly Father, once again, we thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. We thank you for our school system. We thank you for the faculty, staff, everything that goes on there. And Lord, above all, we thank you for the kids. Lord, what a blessing they are. And Lord, what an encouragement it is to be on this board and to be in the community that we live in with our leaders. And God, we ask that you would continually be with us, that we'd be mindful of everything that we say and do and mindful of the decisions we make. And Lord, that we would look to you, the author and finisher of our faith. Lord, you know the beginning from the end and everything in between. We love you. We thank you for loving us. And we ask all these things in your precious holy name. Amen.
Amen.
All right, I call the meeting to order. Let's have first we approve the agenda. Mr. Superintendent, is anything else that needs added?
I don't know of anything else that needs to be added. We'll add some things just as information at the end.
Okay. This is a call meeting for just a couple of items, mainly COVID. So do I have a motion for approval?
Make a motion to approve the agenda as it's stated.
Second.
Second, any further discussion or question? All in favor, by show of hands. All right, let's move on with the meeting, and we'll turn it over now to Mr. Sale. Update.
Mr. McKinney, we had hoped to have Allison Cochran with the Health Department here tonight, but she has a wonderful reason that she is not here. She and her team have been fervently giving vaccinations over the past week, and she gave some numbers that she would like to have shared about that. Overall, they have distributed 900 vaccinations so far in Swain County. They've given 511 vaccinations this week, and 220 of those went out today. So they have really been working fervently. Now, along the way, they have been able to help the school system. We have had 90 of our staff members vaccinated. There are 173 in the school system who have signed up to take that vaccine. That's just over half of our staff. And there are some who continue to call in and are saying, I haven't put my name on the list. Can you still do that? And we absolutely can. Allison wanted to emphasize that the reason that the school staff has been able to participate in this is because before the federal government and the state government dropped the age limit from 75 to 65, our plans were already in place to get vaccinations. And so Allison called the state and spoke with Betsy Tilson, who was the state health director and the chief medical officer for the Department of Health and Human Services. And Betsy Tilson said, go ahead and proceed with that clinic since that's already in the schedule. Now, our hope is that there will be enough vaccine that will be distributed across the state and into Swain County so that we can continue to offer this to the rest of our staff. The great thing, in my opinion, about the way that this has been handled so far is it has been based upon birth date, and we have started with those who were born the earliest and have worked backwards so that the youth, I suppose you could call them youth, are the ones who have not been vaccinated so far, because there seems to be less risk, at least as you get younger. I think that that's a pretty broad and statement that's overgeneralized. But at this point, we've vaccinated almost everyone who is through 1979, 42 years old or so. Now, there are some probably who still need to be taken care of, and I believe there are some who are a little older than that who came into the process late and weren't in that first set, okay? So I'm telling you all of that from Allison to let you know that the health department is working very closely with us, and we're certainly appreciative of that. And that's going to be extremely important as we try to move toward bringing students back into school, to have that barrier in place for ourselves. Right now, the state has a positivity rate on the Department of Health and Human Services website. It's pretty high. It's over 20% positivity. In the calculations that I've made, though, over the past several days, at least the past 10 days, it looks like, just using simple math, we've got about 11.5% positivity rate. That's about double what it was back in November. That's a little concerning, and that's one of the reasons that I'm going to come to you with a recommendation in just a few minutes. Past those numbers, I think that it would be better if we were to wait for Allison to be here to give any more detail in that, okay? Because she's got all of those numbers at her fingertips, okay? Now, as far as our school system is concerned, the reason that I recommended that we move towards virtual is because in the first 10 days, I guess you could say 10 days, 7 days of school, we found that we had 58 of our staff members, that includes all of our instructional staff, support staff, and other help like bus drivers and things like that, who had been impacted with at least 1 day of quarantine. I don't want anybody to think that means that all 58 were out in 1 day, because that's not what happened. It was across a span of time. But we had gotten to a point where we were beginning to close classrooms, and we're really beginning to fret having enough bus drivers. I don't think that a lot of people understand that if you can't get your kids to school, you really can't have school. That's why we have snow days. And so when we came to that conclusion, I made my recommendation. Now, since that time, since we have been out of the buildings, and we've allowed that initial surge, probably from the holidays, to maybe dwindle a little bit, maybe, we're in a better position now with our staff. As of this morning, we still have 90% of our instructional staff available. But I need to tell you that in the past 24 hours, those numbers have fluctuated, and those fluctuations have mostly been outside of the classroom as far as impact is concerned. We're at a point right now where we have 5 open bus seats for drivers. 25% of our buses don't have a driver right now. And we don't have enough substitutes to put in those seats, unless I dip into the reserves, and those are other folks in the county who have driver's license, the CDL. Okay, we can do that, but even though our instructional staff numbers are at 90%, we're still seeing some struggle, and I need everyone to understand that when you get to 90% instructional capacity, you're in danger. It's not like running a business where you might be able to fill in somehow or leave something undone. If we have 17 people who are out of classrooms, then we're struggling to do what we need to do. My target number for that is closer to 95%. We were at 95% in the middle of the week. I thought that I was going to be able to come into you all and say, we're looking pretty good at this point, and then things changed in 2 days. That's one of our concerns. We have 48 students right now who we're tracking actively for COVID-related issues. They may not be positive, but they are certainly close contacts and may have symptoms, because you've got those 3 categories. But we're tracking those. With all of those pieces together, I think that we need to seriously consider, and it would be my recommendation, that we continue remote learning for at least another week to give ourselves an opportunity to see if these numbers begin to trend in a different direction. If we can get our staff back, come towards 95%, and begin to see, hopefully, that our positivity rates are changing directions in the county, then I will feel a great deal more comfortable. Another benefit of waiting a week is giving the vaccine an opportunity to begin to work some. There is an 80% efficacy rate with the first shot after 2 weeks. Most of our staff received the shot on Wednesday or Thursday. If we were to at least have the students stay out of the classroom until February 1st, that efficacy rate begins to go up significantly towards 80%, and it gives us a good barrier. Okay, now please remember that at this point we have a little over half of the staff who want to get the vaccine taken care of. Okay, so that's about a quarter of the total staff in the county who have been vaccinated. All right, does that make sense to you? I know those are a lot of numbers, but I really think to take care of our staff, to give everybody a chance, give our numbers a chance to stabilize a little more. I hope to take care of the buses. I have reached out to people with CDLs today and said, would you be willing to drive in an emergency situation to get that taken care of? I think we need at least another week of waiting. Now, do you have any questions? Is there anything else you want me to go over? I've covered a lot of information.
I would take this moment to mention, Cody White called. The reason he's not here tonight, he all of a sudden started feeling bad after lunch today. And given the environment we're in, and given the fact that he had been working around in the past, people that had come in contact with people that had COVID, he just felt like it was a safe thing for him to do, not be here because of that situation. And I appreciate that.
Yes.
And Dennis missed the last meeting for the very same reason his wife had COVID. He didn't get it, but out of respect for everybody else, then he didn't come to the last meeting. And I say that to emphasize, we all need to do that.
Yes.
In the entire county. And that's what we're about with making decisions on schools. Because the wrong person get it, and the wrong person died, we all. So.
Yes.
And so, any discussion on this recommendation?
So that's one more school week?
I am comfortable with one more week. Kim, I think that I am not uncomfortable with 2, but I am concerned that if we continue to push this out, that we really are beginning to hamper our students significantly. I'm counting on the vaccine to help us, although we only have about 25% coverage right now.
Could we word a motion such as that we go ahead and set February 1st as the target date to start with a caveat in it? If, for example, next week, mid-Thursday, Mark said all of a sudden everything blows up again, that we revisit and we'll make a big decision. Right now, if this trend continues, we can make that motion that we go ahead and proceed with the recommendation.
Yes. Yeah, I make that motion.
It's all right.
All right, that motion is to follow your recommendations.
I will write it down. And Joanne is watching right now,
Okay.
but she's taking care of her kids.
All right. February 1st, unless conditions turn a lot worse.
Will we be coming back next week to meet again,
I
or?
don't think we would have to unless all of a sudden the whole COVID issue became bad again. Because I agree with Mark, if we get some of these pictures with that shot, that gives you a little more comfort for a couple of weeks. And if these trends continue downward like they're doing now,
Yep.
I think.
Plus the fact that these positives are going to be good for, should be good for 90 days, I mean.
That work?
So the motion that Mitch is agreeing to is that we will turn February 1st unless conditions take a significant downturn.
Yes.
Is that what I heard?
Yes.
Well, I think that, I mean, I guess we need to define what that is. If it's not to the standard, you said 95%? Is that what our standard is, or is that?
I would like for it to be close to 95% as far as staffing is concerned. And that, Kim, is the real reason that we have, not the real, but the significant, the largest reason that we went back to Plan C, okay? And I think we need to state that this is not a health department recommendation.
This is an in-house staff
Yes.
recommendation.
And Allison has cautioned us about totally relying on the community numbers and the state numbers because they fluctuate, okay? So I think that if you want to add that moving towards 95%,
Well, I think it's whatever you're comfortable with, because essentially, by this vote, we'd be, relying upon you to make,
Yes.
determine what was a downward turn, so I don't know what you would feel most comfortable with.
I feel comfortable with the wording
Okay,
of moving close to 95%,
okay.
okay? I believe that we can get there, but you just don't know.
Do we need to amend our motion then, or I don't know that it has to be that precise, but,
I can add that wording, but I'll need you to help me with it because you are the lawyer in the room.
well, I guess, Mr. Carson has his motion on the table, so we would have to.
How would you like for that to read since it's your motion?
Let's put it, how have you got it right now?
That we will return to school the students will return to the school buildings February 1st unless conditions, what was the word I used?
Take a downward
Take a
turn.
downward turn
Or we are not at the
at or close to 95%.
percent.
Okay?
Yes.
Does that work? And that's across the district, and may I add instructional staff?
Instructional staff,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. I have that,
All
sir.
right, we have a motion, then we have a second for that.
Second.
Any further discussion or question? All right, all those in favor, by show of hands. Motion carried. Is that all we've got on that, Chief?
As far as the COVID conversation and the impact on the schools, yes, sir.
Okay.
May I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
I know we've continued with athletics. Is that going in a manner that's satisfactory as far
I
as?
believe that it is, and as I thought whenever we had this conversation at our last board meeting, it really is taking care of itself. We had a couple of students on the JV boys basketball team who were positive, and that impacted and actually shut down the boys basketball team. And there are some who are still trying to work through the return to play criteria that is more stringent at the high school. They have an extra 7 days that they have to complete. So the JV basketball team is still struggling to participate, and as a matter of fact is missing a game tonight because we also have some JV basketball players, boys, who are running cross country tomorrow. And our athletic director and coaches decided that they didn't want those boys putting themselves in any type of a situation that may give them a close contact. So they're holding them out so that they can run tomorrow. So what I say all of that, Kim, to say this, I really believe that our athletic director and coaches are working hard to protect our students.
Plus, the season is so short, it's a big impact.
Yeah, it is. And our head JV basketball coach has been impacted twice now. He is a close contact, probably till Monday still. So I really believe that we're in a good place there, but we're keeping a close eye on that.
I just want to tell the staff we really appreciate everything they're doing. Because these are difficult times. And, a lot of of people think we just shut the school down our last meeting. You know, they didn't know that we didn't shut the school
Mhm.
down. There's still staff in the buildings every day.
Mhm.
You know, we did go virtual, but that's not shutting down, so. But I appreciate everything everyone's doing to make this work.
I walked through a couple of schools today, and the level of work that's happening in the classrooms is, with the teachers, is really amazing. And I was privileged to also be on the other side of it and watch some students work from home this week, because I had the opportunity to be at the house a little while. And watching an elementary student have 3 sessions, 3 different sessions in the morning, and actually cycle through 3 different teachers, the way that they're doing it, is really phenomenal. There's a lot of good stuff happening. Much different than it was back in the spring. Much
Yes, I've
better.
had parents come to me and tell me that.
That's not easy, you know, and it has an impact on the home, and I know that. But I think that we're not leaving our students as far behind as we were before.
It is a, you know, an impact on everybody, and I think we all know the impact it's having on parents and homes and grandparents and whoever's caring for the children, and that's unfortunate. I mean, but we've also got to make the tough decisions to actually be able to have staff in the classrooms and the schools with them. So it's a team effort.
Yes. And I still stand by what I've said since last August. We want all of our kids back in the buildings as soon as we can get them there, but we've got to do it safely. So I think we're moving in a good direction.
I don't think anybody wants to go back more than we do. I
Mhm.
would love to see them. That's their goal. And hopefully, they continue to improve the spring. That's our plan.
Mhm.
At some point, just improve it again. I miss seeing a lot of things going on.
Mhm.
It's just an empty year. It'll change.
So you were able to find some folks to drive buses?
I'm working on that. I believe that we will. Before, let me see, the afternoon of the board meeting, the last board meeting, I had actually called 2 staff members and said, I need you to drive tomorrow. Because I hadn't gotten to a place where I really felt like we needed to change. And it was not hard to find them. I'm just looking for confirmation from some. So if anybody is listening from our school system and you have your CDL, please agree to help us out.
Okay. You got one item on there just for your information. I talked to Mark last week, we talked a little bit about this, and I talked to others about it. It's setting up some subcommittees. Because of COVID, we're behind on planning. Because at one time we were meeting commissioners, and we'll get back to that, about what our building plans are. We know what we need, but I think it's good for everybody involved. So some of you have told me what you wanted, and we try to set up some subcommittees, and Mark's going to talk with the commissioners and see if they would put somebody on those subcommittees. I know Mitch volunteered one to help be available to assist in whatever way from the board perspective. And one other can join if we want to. We'll be 2 people with any of this. But he's volunteered to do the high school road project, and they're going to start on that sometime in the spring. And Travis and I agreed to stay on with plans and making plans and working on trying to find a way to build a new track. Because we did that last year, we bought that property. And again, if Travis can't come, anybody else can come. As long as we got 2 people, we can do that. And we can show you what we're thinking about, what our plans are. And then I talked to Kim, and I think she said she'd like to work some in the middle school. There's several projects we need up there. In particular, one of the big ones is the cafeteria. But she also might be willing to work with Cody, because Cody was all over the pre-K. And that's what he wanted to do. He has some good ideas, and if she wanted to work together on that project, that would be fine. So we can mix and match at times we need to on those, but have somebody in particular, one person assigned to some of those subcommittees, and we get somebody with commissions. I don't want us to get too far behind on planning and start looking at ways to do this. We're getting in better shape every year, but Any questions about that? All right, anything else?
Mr. McKinney, I want to just congratulate the cross-country teams. We have a second-place regional finishing team from the girls and a third-place regional finishing team from the boys. And in the morning, they're leaving at 8 o'clock from the high school to go downstate for the state championship meet. And there are as many of us that can get down onto Main Street to cheer them on as they leave town for this competition, who can get there. I know it's a little early and it may be a little cool, but it won't take a long time. And these folks have had an incredibly long season. They're usually done and finished a long time ago. And they actually started way back in the summer. So I want to congratulate those teams and their coaches, and Jennifer Chatham, and oh my goodness, help me with the guy, Payne. What is his first name? Works at the middle school. His name always eludes me. I can promise you that somebody's going to send me a text. I'm just going to call him Mr. Payne. All right? They're our coaches for the high school team, and they have done such a wonderful, Keith Payne, such a wonderful job. We also need to thank Megan Lucas and Emily McClung, who have worked with the middle school team, because if we didn't have a good feeder program, we wouldn't have a good high school program.
That's right.
And proof of the excellence there is the fact that our girls at the middle school were conference champions. And I'm pretty sure that Arizona, Blankenship, was the individual conference champion for the girls. See, I'm getting a text right now. Somebody's watching. Yeah, Keith Payne. Thank you, Vicki Davis. And our girls at the high school were the conference champions, even though they were runner-up in the region. So, you know, I've rambled a little bit about that. We just need to say congratulations to all of them.
Absolutely.
And would love for as many of us as we can be down there in the morning at 8 o'clock to cheer them on.
Where at?
Main Street, Everett Street. They're going to bring a bus from the high school. Normally at the high school we do the tunnel, or they do the tunnel where the state qualifiers go down through there. But we can't do that. First of all, it's Saturday. Secondly, we don't have the kids there. But we can certainly ring the streets or line the streets as long as we social distance and do it correctly. And just do it for less than 15 minutes. Okay? So, congratulations to them. I just had 5 people all tell me Keith Payne. At least we know we have 5 people watching.
I think you need to appreciation also.
Okay, I got a text that nobody can hear what Mr. McKinney's saying. I don't know.
Is it on there? That's not been on. They may not want to hear me. I'm muffled. But no, we need to give a shout out to the tribal council or whoever gave the okay for us to use that field up there, the Katua Farms. That is a great place to have a cross-country meet. And they're very gracious to us to let us use that, and the track they let us do in the spring, so we thank them for that, too.
The coordination that it took to pull that off also, with Neil Blankenship putting the pieces together, and then all of the staff from all of the different athletics groups. Look, that's one thing that the coaches from other schools have been saying. It's amazing to see coaches from football, basketball, wrestling, you name it, band directors, school administrators, all of them out there working together to support this. Because in a lot of districts, that just doesn't happen.
That's right.
It was Keith Payne wrote an email this week, and he said that's one of the things that he loves about Swain County, is that we truly are #Swain family. We work together. So, you know, kudos to everybody who's part of that.
Yeah, I ride a bike up there in the bottoms, and I noticed after they have those meets, you ride around through there, and they've got arrows painted on every curve and every corner of those, all those different roads. They've got roads everywhere. And so it took a lot of work to do that.
And wildlife officers to keep the elk off the path.
Yeah.
You know? Who else in America has to deal with that?
All right, anything else?
Not from me.
Okay, our next meeting is second Monday in February. I don't know what date that is.
Eighth.
That'd
That'd
be
be
the
the
8th, wouldn't it? Unless something
If something breaks loose.
breaks loose and we have to
I'll
make.
call you, and if you feel like we need to have an emergency meeting, we can do that. Okay?
Okay. All right, if nothing else, I have a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Second, all in favor, rise and be ready to leave.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kent.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Gotta go pick up a little